Hello, thanks for joining me today. I just finished Kristen Dumais' book here, and it really helps shed light on what we're seeing in the world today. And, understanding of ourselves and others is really the first step towards healing. So I just wanted to share some of my thoughts related to this. I'm a little nervous because there's so much we could say. I'm also basing this on interviews I've watched afterwards of different people, so I've got a better understanding. With feminist therapy principles, I have some other videos out there, and the movement for feminist therapy is to help us see how oppression can lead to, and discrimination can lead to mental illness and depression, anxiety, addictions, and so forth. And what steps can we take at a societal level, also within therapy, to help people gain their full power. So let's look at some of the principles, these are not all, of feminist therapy. Transparency. And I want to do the parallel here between what I'm seeing with this evangelical movement that we're seeing in the world today and in feminist therapy. With transparency, with feminist therapy, is that there's no secrets in therapy. Everything is out in the open and to be discussed, and even the therapist will disclose more personal information than is typically prescribed in other types of counseling. Now, with the evangelical movement that we're seeing, I think they're asking for the same thing: is no secrets, no secret boardroom decisions, no secret ways of manipulating media or what have you. So we may disagree with what they're asking, but I think there's some similarities here, that we want a more transparent society. Power analysis, another principle. In feminist therapy, the power analysis is actually asking people to define what power is for them. What does that mean for them? How was it depicted when they were a kid? And how can they use this now? With the evangelical movement, the power analysis, from what I gather from interviews, is that, hey, we're tired of the coastal elite. A lot of your Ivy League educated, I'm getting some of this from David Brooks, the New York Times article, who was conservative, that they're tired of the coastal elites kind of running everything and making the boardroom decisions and having so much influence in culture and media. The next thing is societal precursors of illness, and this is it's one of the key ingredients of feminist therapy that I think we've got to bring into the counseling world. Is just that when we have so much strife and tension and anger in society, that can cause us to be anxious and depressed and to fuel addictions and anger and rage and so forth. And that might not necessarily be that we have certain personal weaknesses or anything. We're just affected by the world we live in. And I think this is the same thing that the evangelicals are saying. It's just that, hey, I believe in the Bible, and you are not living according to this, and that's going to lead to some serious problems, and I have a lot of fear about that for myself and others. So I see that societal thing coming from two different angles here if we're to continue to parallel this. Advocacy for personal healing. So for both feminists and evangelicals here, it's like, wow, getting involved and working helps you feel less despair. And so actually with feminist therapy, we'd say, hey, getting involved with a group advocating for what you want, women's rights, and so forth, is that actually helps you with your personal depression, anger, anxiety, whatever it might be. And I think we see the same thing happening in the world today with the evangelical movement. The January 6th, for instance, also, this truck movement, I'm sorry, I don't know the title for that, that's, rolling through. A couple other notes, and this is important, hopefully you'll stay with me, it's just that one of the fastest ways for churches to gain in membership is to talk about being, anti-vax and, COVID's not real, and just all of the, kind of fake news and so forth. And, that's problematic that if for folks that are Christian, is that really a part of the religion? And they would say so. But it's but then you get into kind of this money and power thing within church, and you can kind of walk away from doctrine and what they truly believe, or at least what scholars would say is in the Bible. Another thing, culture wars happen about every 60 years. Now, I'm not a historian, so you'd have to go back to look at that. I was kind of doing it in my mind, starting with like the Civil War, and I was like, it kind of matches up, Civil War, World War One. Now, World War Two, snuck in there, but then 1960s, the civil rights and the feminist movement, and now you're seeing this, which has often been described as a culture war. The next thing here is, the ExVangelical movement is, younger folks are not as big of a percentage of the population of evangelicals, and they have been in a world where they are exposed to more diversity and have more appreciation for that. So this could be a movement that we see as well. And, a lot of these movements, regardless of the type it is, tend to follow kind of a prescribed timeline or stages, if you will. Like first, you're just kind of unaware of societal injustices. Then something happens and you're shocked that there is this injustice. And then you move towards kind of activism, which kind of this anger phase, a storming phase. But then that eventually moves into more assimilation, where you can see both sides. So I like to think that we will move in that direction to where we can be a lot more compassionate and caring for one another's, and want to understand all the sides of this issue. That's why this book was so incredibly helpful. There's a bunch of videos that she's put out of interviews and so forth that I recommend. All right, but man, I really do look forward to your feedback on this. I realize it could be a little confusing on this video, so let me know. A lot more we could say. I hope this is helpful, though, and take good care. I'll talk to you soon.